step one is to open up the dryer so we can access all the internal components. We're going to start by raising up the lid. There's two push pins, one on either side, and you can either grab it and snap it upwards or stick a flatbed screwdriver in that and just pry up a little bit, and the whole top will swing right up. Next, we're going to start disassembling the front. We have 3 screws on the front, 1 on top and 2 on bottom, and those are the 3 screws that have the built-in washer. Most of the screws are kind of hard to keep track of, but the 3 with the built-in washer go on this front face panel. Once those screws are out, and we can lift the top part up, let's move a couple things here. We can lift the top part up, and we can either pull it away from the wall so that it stays up in the air by itself, or we can put a little prop rod under there, something to prop it and hold it up. There we go. We've propped it up with a broom, and that should keep that in place so we don't have to worry about this part. Now, we've got a few more screws to take off on top here. The back trim rail has 1, 2, 3 screws. Now we're going to push down on this little tab here on either side, and then the front will pop right off once you do that. There we go. Front pops off. Lift and pull. And this whole door frame comes right off. So you set this aside. The next step is going to be to remove the front drum support panel, and there's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got to move the air vent down here too. There's 3 screws, 2 on the left side and 1 over on the top right, along with the moisture sensor connector down there. And once those are out, we'll be ready to pull out the tub. As you pull the front support away, you'll have to reach down and remove the wire for the door switch.
And don't cut yourself.
Thank you. Reach down to the bottom, remove the belt from the tensioner pulley, and now you can remove the 6 wires attached to the heating element, and then the 2 screws that hold the heating element in place. You can then lift the heating element assembly out and away. 1 screw goes vertically down into the frame, and the other one horizontally right here on the front of the bracket. Gently pull the whole assembly out toward you, and then we can work on it on the bench. Now we're going to remove the 6 screws that hold the clamshell together, the side screws that hold the thermistor and the safety fuse on place, separate the clamshell, bend this little tang up on the main power switch, slide it inward and outward, and the whole heater assembly will be in your hands. This one had a obviously broken main coil unit, so we're replacing it with an aftermarket one that costs under $20. You can see here how once we bent the little tang down flat, the terminals slide back out of the porcelain holder, and that's it for the pulling out of the old heating element. These things fail fairly commonly, and this is a common repair. When you set the new one in place, you're going to push your new terminals through the insulator block, and then it's just a reverse process. You're going to get your pliers and bend over that little tang on the new one downward, so that it holds it firmly in place in the insulation block. In place here, so it doesn't push back. You'll also need to stretch out your lead wires a little bit so that everything lines up with the mounting holes and the terminal inputs. See these routing of this main lead wires here? You don't want it touching need to wires. You don't want to eyeball them, stretch them out a little bit, bend them a little to go through the insulator block, like that, and make sure your frame of your heater is lined up with the clamshell. Now you can see here everything's back in place. The lead wires are nice and straight and not touching each other. The heating coil is where it's supposed to be. All the little tabs on the frame line up with the clamshell bottom. And we're going to reinstall the thermistor switch and the fuse switch. Put the 6 screws in to hold the clamshell together, and we'll be good to go. Reattach your wiring harness, remount the heating unit to the frame, reverse all the other processes, and you're done. a new heating unit in your Samsung dryer for about 20 bucks. Save, yeah, I'm sure it would save you at least $300 or $400 off having a service tech come out and do this for you. Thanks for watching.